Alright, welcome to our first recorded video in pre-calculus course, and specifically we're going to have the circle. This is one of the topics under the analytic geometry. So let us start. For the learning objectives, the students are able to define the circle, derive and understand the standard equation of the circle, determine the center and the radius of the circle, understand the general equation of the circle, convert from general to standard form, and vice versa. And lastly, graph a circle in Cartesian coordinate plane. First, let us define the circle. A circle is a set of points which moves at a constant distance from a fixed point called its center. The constant distance of any point from another point passing through the center is called the diameter. The half of diameter is the radius of the circle. So for the entire chapter, specifically here in the circle, we will use some variables to denote its parts. For example, center is denoted by capital C. Diameter, its notation is small letter d. And finally, the radius must be small letter r. Now, as you can see here in the illustration, the center, that is the point, the middle part of the circle. Diameter is the longest line segment that we can illustrate within the circle. And take note and bear in mind that this diameter will pass through the center of the circle. And the half, of course, is what you call the radius. Actually, if we choose a random point within the path of the circle, okay, for example, this point, okay, if we try to trace from this point to this point, that is also a radius. We can denote this as small letter r. Okay, let's say this random point, we trace that into the center. Again, we generate the radius small letter r. In fact, this line segment, and this line segments are equal to each other. If r is 5, definitely the remaining radius are also 5. Now at this point, let us derive the standard equation of the circle. To do that, we must introduce another notations. Okay? A center has a coordinate of h comma k. Okay, this is the abscissa. This is the ordinate. Okay, and r, that's the radius. And take note, it should be greater than 0. It must be positive. There's no such radius whose measurement is negative. Okay? If your radius is 0, definitely wala na tayong circle na nag-occur. Right? So, tawag din is point circle. But, for the sake of convenience, radius must be positive. P is a random point within the path of the circle. Okay? And its abscissa and ordinate are x and y respectively. Now, let us draw a Cartesian plane. This is the center, circle, and a random point, P. Let us trace. Now, the generated line segment is your radius small letter r. Okay? By the concept of distance formula, okay, we can determine the value of r, or the distance between C to P, or P to C. So, by this formula, that is the given formula, of course, square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 square plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 square. Now, you can treat this as your x sub 1, this is your y sub 1, then x sub 2, or y sub 2. Okay? Or you can do the vice versa. Now, substituting these terms to our distance formula, we have x minus h square y minus k squared. Okay po. Now, square both sides to obtain this equation. Okay, square. We have r square is equal to x minus h square plus y minus k square. If we square the square root, okay, that square root sign will eliminate. So, ito na po ngayon yung ating bagong formula. We can rewrite this as x minus h square plus y minus k square equals r square. This is the standard equation of the circle. Take note, class, take note. Standard equation of the circle, if the center is at HK, that means your center must be located any of the four quadrants. Either the center is at quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3, or 4. Okay? And we will name this equation as equation number 1, okay, for some reason. Now, let us proceed to another standard equation of the circle, but at this time, the center must be at the origin. Okay? What is the form of our standard equation if this is the case? So, let us see. Center must be at the origin, of course. This is your circle, a random point x comma y, and a radius r. Now, using the same concept by distance formula, at this time, this is your x sub 2, y sub 2, x sub 1, y sub 1. Substituting, we will obtain square root of x minus 0 square plus y minus 0 square. Now, x minus 0 is just x. Y minus 0 is simply y. In that case, we have square root of x squared plus y squared. And let us square both sides once again to obtain r squared equals x squared plus y squared, or this one. Now, finally, we have the standard equation of the circle whose center at the origin. Okay? And we will name this as our second equation. Let's have an example. Find the equation of the circle whose center is located at 1, 4 and radius of 5 cm. Graph the circle. I think I can give you a 5 seconds to answer this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Stop writing. Just kidding. Solution, given, okay, as the center, radius, okay. Now, let us use the equation 1. Why equation 1? Because the center is at 1, 4. It is located at quadrant number 1. Okay, that represents the HK. So, in that case, substitute H as 1, K as 4, R as 5. Okay. Now, simplify. X minus 1 square as is. Y minus 4 square as is. Okay, take note, class. Do not expand this one using FOIL method. Okay. So, we're not going to do that. Now, 5 square is simply 25. Just write 25 on the right hand side. And that's it. This is the standard equation of the circle. If you want to emphasize the measurement of the radius, write that in an exponential form. Okay? So, it should be square. The base is your measurement. Okay? So, on this case, 5 units is the radius, the length of the radius. Now, in terms of its graph, okay, this is the center, 1, 4. Now, a random point. Radius is 5. And let us draw a circle. And that's it. Let's have an example too. Write the equation of the circle with center at 5 comma negative 3 and radius of square root of 7 meters. So, same process. Let us write the given 5 comma negative 3 as the center, radius square root of 7. Now, by equation 1, why equation 1? Correct. The center is located at HK once again. Okay? And that represents the 5 comma negative 3 located at quadrant 4. Substituting, okay, H is 5, but here K is negative 3. X minus 5 square plus Y, okay, minus, this minus sign is this, then K is negative 3, that's why we have to create another negative sign, square, equals square root of 7 square. Now, rewrite x minus 5 square. Here, we have negative, negative. It turns out that we have y plus 3 square. Because negative and negative, that will yield into positive. And the square root of 7 square, remember, if we square the square root sign will terminate. So, we have 7 only under the right hand side. And this one. Okay? And this is your final answer. Yun na pala yun. Ayos. Example number 3. Determine the equation of the circle with center at the origin and radius of 3/4. Okay? Here we have a unit of measure and that is a kilometer. Solution. Okay. Given, okay, center. Where's the center? It is located at the origin. So, it must be, correct, 0, 0. R is 3/4. Now, what equation number do we have to use? Equation 1 refers to h, k. Equation 2 pertains to center at the origin. So, that's correct. It should be equation number 2. So, that's x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Now, r is the only thing that we have to perform. Okay. That is 3/4 square. Now, to evaluate the right-hand side, let us use the law of exponent. So, we all know that a/b raised to any number m except 0. Okay, we can include the 0. So, this is equivalent to a raised to m over b raised to m. Okay? So, we will apply that concept to this one. And that is 3 square over 4 square or 9/16. And this is the final answer. Now, if a circle has a standard equation, a circle can have a general equation as well. So, the definition, we have ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e equal 0. Now, we have lots of variables here, but I will try to explain that. A and b. So, this is your a, this is your b. It should be equal. Okay, that's the first condition. If a is not equal to b, it is not a circle. Take note of that. A and b must not be 0. Okay? Why? Because if a is 0, this term will eliminate. If b is 0, same reasoning. This will eliminate. So, the remaining terms now are cx, dy, and e. It is not a circle because we don't have an exponent of 2. So, magiging line na siya. Okay, so it is important that A and B must not be 0. And for the last condition, all letters must be a real number. It can represent any number. Okay, let's have an example. Determine if the given equation is a circle or not a circle. So we can answer the following examples by satisfying the definition above. 7x squared plus 6y squared plus 3x plus 11y plus 2 equals 0. Do you think it is a circle? Yes or no? I mean, right circle or not a circle? Let us try to analyze, no? Now, 7 is your A, 6 is B, 3 is C, 11 is your D, and lastly, this is your letter E. First condition, is A equal to B? No. A is 7, but B is 6. So, in that case, that's the hint. That's the hint, class, no? This is not a circle. Next, number 2. Negative 2x squared minus 2y squared plus 6x plus 4y equals 0. Is this a circle? This is the A. This is your B. Okay. This is the C. This is the D. But we don't have a letter E. Do you think it is a circle? Yes, it is a circle. Okay. A and B are equal. A is negative 2. B is also negative 2. Satisfied this condition. And obviously, negative 2 is not equal to 0. So, satisfied pa din po ito. Okay. Now, we don't have a letter E. But, we can rewrite this one as negative 2x squared minus 2y squared plus 6x plus 4y plus 0. And this 0 represents your E. Okay. E can be 0 because E is any number. Okay. 0 is considered as a number. So, satisfied yung third condition. Definitely, number 2 is a circle. Next po. Number 3. 18x plus 15y plus 12 equals 0. Okay? So, 18 is your letter C, 15 is D, 12 is E. This time, wala tayong A and B. Okay? If A and B are not reflecting to our general equation, that means A and B are 0. But, hindi niya na-satisfy si second condition. That's why 3 or number 3 is not a circle. Let's have another example. 0.1 x squared. We have several decimals with a fraction, square root. Medyo nakakalito, no? Pero let us try to answer pa din. 0.1, okay, that's the numerical coefficient of our x squared term. So, that's why this is your letter A. Okay. Next, 0.1, that's the coefficient of your y squared term. That's your B. 1/3 is your letter C. Square root of 29 is your letter D. Oops! Where is E? Is it 0? Because E is not reflecting. That means E is 0. No. Take note, the right hand side is negative 10. Okay, this is a constant term. We can add 10 both sides or transpose negative 10 to the left hand side to obtain plus 10. Okay? Equal 0 na po yung right hand side natin because we transpose negative 10 to the left hand side. Now, positive 10 or 10 is your letter E. So, meron tayong E, of course. Now, is this a circle? Is A and B are equal? Yes. Definitely, they are not 0. A, B, C, D, and E are any number. So, kahit anong number yan. Decimal, fraction, irrational, that is considered, or those are considered as a real number. So, definitely, number 4 is a circle. Last but not the least, x squared plus y squared minus 3x minus 11y minus 2 equals 0. That is a circle. Okay? Kayo na bala mag-explain. Okay, I will left that as an exercise. So, that's it for our first part. By the next video, we will discuss the conversion from standard to general and general to standard. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something. Ingat kayo and God bless. Love you guys.